You see between 4,000 and 10,000 ads every single day on your phone, on the street, before your YouTube videos, in your podcasts. Every single waking moment of your life has been colonized by advertising, and apparently that's still not enough for them because brands have now figured out how to follow you into your sleep. While you are unconscious in your bed, companies have been running experiments to plant their products directly into your dreams. And the scary part isn't that they tried it, the scary part is that it actually worked. Here's where this whole story starts. A woman in Los Angeles named Bobby Gould is scrolling through Craigslist one day and comes across the weirdest job listing she's ever seen. It just says big brand looking for willing sleepers. It pays $1,000. She's curious. She signs up. A few days later, she finds herself in an old warehouse, hooked up to an EEG machine, surrounded by a room full of Molson Coors marketers. Molson Coors, the beer company. They hand her a video to watch before she goes to sleep. Mountains, waterfalls, lush green landscapes, and scattered throughout, flashes of Coors products. Then she drifts off to sleep while an 8-hour audio soundtrack plays in the background. Sounds from that same video looping all night. Their goal, stated openly in their own press release, was to shape and compel the subconscious into dreaming about beer. Bobby woke up the next morning and reported multiple Coors dreams. In one of them, she was on a pogo stick jumping around with Coors cans. In another, she was on a plane dropping Coors products on people, and they were all cheering for her. And she wasn't alone. Around 30% of all participants that night reported Coors showing up in their dreams. Now, before you write this off as some weird one-time stunt, you need to understand what's actually going on here scientifically, because this isn't pseudoscience. This technique was developed at MIT. Scientists call it targeted dream incubation. When you're falling asleep, there's a specific window, maybe a few minutes, where you're not fully awake, but you're not fully gone either. That half-conscious, fuzzy, almost hallucinatory state right before you go under. Scientists call it hypnagogia. And during that window, something strange happens. Your critical thinking basically goes offline. You stop filtering, you stop evaluating, but your brain is still picking up audio from the outside world and processing it. If you play the right sounds or associations during that exact window, you can steer what a person dreams about, not with perfect precision, not like plugging in a USB and selecting a file, but enough. Enough to make someone dream about your beer. And here's where it really starts to get uncomfortable. Because Coors was not even close to the only company doing this. Burger King, in 2018, teamed up with a sleep diagnostic lab and engineered a Halloween burger that they claimed was clinically proven to cause nightmares. They ran an actual study, 100 people, 10 nights. The people who ate the burger were 3.5 times more likely to have nightmares. One participant reported dreaming that a person turned into the burger and then transformed into a giant snake. It got massive press coverage worldwide, which was obviously the whole point. Xbox ran a campaign called Made from Dreams, where they used targeted dream incubation on gamers, recorded what they dreamed about, and turned those dreams into content for their ads. PlayStation promoted a game by showing that people who played Tetris for long enough started seeing the falling blocks during that hypnagogic state as they were drifting off to sleep. So we have a beer brand, a fast food chain, a gaming giant, all quietly running experiments on how to access your brain while you're unconscious. And all of this is publicly confirmed. When this started coming out, 40 sleep scientists signed an open letter. Professors from Harvard, researchers from MIT, serious credentialed people. And what they wrote was blunt. They said, our dreams cannot become just another playground for corporate advertisers. They called TDI a slippery slope with real consequences. But the thing that really stood out in that letter was the warning they buried toward the end. They said, what starts as something requiring your active participation, like Bobby voluntarily sitting in that warehouse, could very easily become something you never agreed to at all. Think about what's already sitting in your bedroom right now. 126 million smart speakers are installed in American homes. Your Amazon Echo, your Google Nest. These devices have microphones that are always on. Google's Nest Hub can already monitor your breathing during sleep. It can detect your coughs and snores. It knows what stage of sleep you're in. Robert Stickgold, a Harvard psychiatry professor who has spent decades studying dreams, said it plainly. The Nest system knows when you're sleeping. It controls your speakers. It controls the temperature in your room. It controls what information could come into your brain while you're in that vulnerable, hypnagogic state. That infrastructure already exists. It is already in your home. The only thing missing is a company deciding to flip the switch. And here's the number that should make that feel less hypothetical. A study found that people who dreamed about an advertisement were 27% more likely to report planning to buy that product after waking up. That's not noise. That's not a coincidence. That is a measurable, significant shift in purchasing behavior triggered by something that happened while you were unconscious and had zero defenses up. No ad blocker, no skip button, no rational brain going, wait, do I actually need this? The entire history of advertising is the story of brands finding ways into spaces that used to feel private, your living room, your commute, your friendships, through influencer marketing. Every new space that opens up, advertising moves in. Sleep was the last one, the one corner of your life that was genuinely, completely yours. And they found the door. Now, the only real question is whether anyone is going to do anything about it before the technology gets good enough to make this automatic and invisible. Right now, the legal framework wasn't written for this. The rules against subliminal advertising exist, but nobody imagined having to apply them to a smart speaker whispering brand names at you at 3 a.m. while you're in a hypnagogic state. And just so you know how seriously the industry is taking this opportunity, a survey by the American Marketing Association found that 77% of companies plan to experiment with dream advertising. Not a fringe group, not a few rogue marketers. The majority of the industry raising their hands and saying, yes, we want access to your dreams. You already pay for ad-free music. You pay for ad-free video. Researchers have half-jokingly calculated that based on current subscription rates, ad-free sleep could eventually cost you around $167 a year. That was a joke. For now. The last 8 hours of your day belong to you. No screen, no algorithm, no brand. And somewhere in a corporate boardroom right now, that fact is being described as a problem that needs to be solved. Don't let them solve it.